As was mentioned before, we were the recipients of a laptop donation from corporate IT. And I wanted to give you a little bit of background about the organizations that we shared these donations with, so that you can get a sense of the joy that we had in being able to share these with these community partners. Next slide. So the Kensho Karate program has been in existence for 9 years, and they have been a part of the campus here for that time. It's run completely by volunteers. Most of them are retirees who are black belts and karate masters. It was created in an attempt to protect youth and create a safe environment for kids here in Lakewood. It's open to children 8 and older and their families. The directors of the program invite parents to participate as well. And we have provided space to this organization throughout their existence. Recently, in early 2022, we committed to providing financial support to the program. So the program actually was looking to reboot and recruit new students, and they didn't quite have the funds to do so. And to do that, they needed funding to purchase uniforms, equipment, and some other things that they needed to have classes. And so through the connection with our VP of our foundation, Denise Gaffney, and a local vendor, which is Pine Belt Subaru, we were able to provide some financial support to Kensho. You can see in the pictures on the slide the moment that the official moment that we presented them with a check for their program. And then there's the picture on the right with the children in the room sitting down. They had a demonstration event that we helped support. We contacted all of our community partners and let them know that they were going to be doing a demo program in an attempt to recruit students so that they really could grow their program with this new equipment. They had 50 families show up to their demonstration event. And if you recall, in mid-February, we had a lot of chilly Saturdays. This one was particularly chilly and windy and rainy, and families came over on foot for this event and signed up to be students of the program. So we have a bit of a good problem now. This program has exploded and they have a waiting list, and they're working on a solution to be able to accommodate those on the waiting list. Next slide. So I want to share that during the pandemic, we were able to give this group laptops through the corporate IT donation. We were told by the director of the program that students, they were offering Zoom classes during the pandemic, and students did not have the technology at home to be able to connect to their classes. In fact, we heard a few stories where kids were calling in and they were on the phone and they couldn't see or they couldn't be seen, and the instructors knew that they were there and they were just teaching to the phones. They were only having audio instruction. So we were able to give these laptops to these families while the program was held remotely, and students were able to remain connected or get reconnected to the program. And it really helped to bridge the digital divide for these underserved families who didn't have that technology in their home. So they not only were able to connect to the classes, but it benefited their household as well. Next slide. And then we just captured a few photos of the children receiving some of those laptops when we were able to give them out. Next slide. And now I'm going to pass off the next few slides to the Regional Director of Community Health Social Impact, Jean McKinney, who's going to explain our relationship with the Greater Bethel Church and the upcoming laptop donation to them.
Thank you, Kelly. Kelly and I wanted to put in context the importance of these donations. These were not one and done gifts. And to Barry's opening remarks, he said it best. It's about building collaborative relationships and long-term partnerships. And with Greater Bethel Church, our relationship began in 2017. A new pastor was assigned to Greater Bethel Church, which is an African-American church in the heart of a broken, impoverished, and often violent neighborhood in Lakewood. A shift in demographics happened over the years, with most of their congregation moving away, and some of them returning for church services and community work. The pastor himself and many of his congregation now live outside of Lakewood, but return and have pledged to help those that are in the neighborhood now, who are mostly Hispanic. Pastor Jones recognized that faith-based organizations play an important role in a safe neighborhood, so he has partnered with a local minister from the Hispanic community so that he offers his church the services there now. And in 2017, this was the same year that the system adopted the social impact and community investment practice. And it was at that time that Kelly established a relationship with this new pastor. And it began with a small event called Unity in the Community. It was, I believe, his first event to, let the community know that they were there and open to serve. And it began with employee-led drives, school supplies, backpacks, toiletries, food, and ultimately in the pandemic, it led to greater support through corporate and through the social impact initiative of donated PPE, MRE for the homeless, and ultimately the common market food supplies. And what we realized is that we had a shared vision, one that aligns with our social impact practice to meet the needs of those beyond the walls of our institutions. Next slide, please. In 2019, we invited Pastor Jones to be part of our Community Health Needs Assessment Advisory Committee, and he and church members participated in our minority focus groups to get a better understanding of what the community needs were for us to write our implementation plan. And it was during this process that we learned of his short-term and long-term goals. His short-term goals and immediate goals was to really feed the homeless that were living along the railroad tracks in Lakewood, establishing a Code Blue site, and creating a community pantry for people to come that they can walk to. He accomplished all these goals with his congregants during the pandemic. His long-term goal was to restore a freestanding building that had 4 classrooms in it that are on the grounds of the church. And basically it's to provide a safe haven for children and families, for after-school programs, for job and skills training, and for fitness and health education. And part of this goal was realized in August 28th, of 2021, when he unveiled his newly renovated space with tours to the community. And you'll see in these photos here, we were fortunate to have our president and CEO, Eric Carney, join us for the day. It was a hot, muggy Saturday day with storms threatening, but Pastor Jones said, God opened the skies and gave us blue skies that day. And we participated, and Eric was very impressed with what he saw. Next slide, please. He was so impressed that he made a financial commitment with a formal agreement to further the work of what we could do together. So we have a 3-year financial commitment of a total of $45,000. It's an unrestricted gift because this building is now just a building. It needs furniture, it needs equipment. Pastor Jones wants to put a library in there. So this will allow him to meet that dream, and we can partner with him together. Next slide, please. So the donation of the laptops to the Resource Center will enable us, along with church leadership and trusted community partners, to really provide educational opportunities in the future for families. We hope to create a youth workforce development program with them, partnering with some of our other partners there for job training and obviously health education. And this is the big thank you. This is where we thank our internal partners, because we would not be able to do this for our community partners without the support of our leadership. And it starts with Barry and our RWJ leadership for continuing to invest in our social impact practice. Dr. Alexander, Barbara Mintz and her team for all the work that they do with our social impact program. Diana Candelajero for her resourcefulness with the laptop initiative. I know that we drove her crazy often about, you know, making sure we had the laptops and for it. And last but not least, but our IT corporate team for providing the laptops, and our local teams, Ray Duarte and James Tansey, for securing the software and the operating system, the office software and the operating systems from Databit, one of our vendors, who donated it for this recent donation. So without all of your help, we could not make it possible for these children in the community. So thank you.